Welcome to the Cheplak Live podcast. Today, I have my great friend, Amy Wienands, who has been a perennial #1 team in the state of Iowa. But I think more importantly, and it's one of those things you'll find with a lot of these great team leaders, she's not in real estate to sell houses. She's not in the real estate for the money side of it. It is a vehicle to do bigger and better things. And I think if you look at in this world and in her life, and I think if you look at most top performers, that's what they're all about. And we're going to unpack that. Amy, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you, John. I'm honored to be here. I'm excited to be here.
So let's do the quick, everyone likes the backstory a little bit. Talk to us about a little bit before real estate and what got you into real estate.
Okay, so I graduated from college and I started to work at Cook County Jail in Chicago. All right, I was working with maximum security inmates, teaching them employability skills. So I was teaching employability skills to inmates that were never going to see the light of day. And so I was spending my time doing that. And although I thought it was kind of exciting and it was fun and every day was very, very different, I was writing, I would look at the people that I was working with and I didn't like the looks of their faces. They've been there 20, 30 years and there's cynicism all over them. And like, they don't have this fresh energy anymore. I don't want to look like them 20 or 30 years from now. So I was reading the book my dad had given me, The Magic of Thinking Big, on the train to work one day. And I'm like, I need to get in sales. That's what I need to do. So I called my dad. I'm the first to graduate from college in my family. My mom and dad just paid for me to go to private school. And I called them and say, hey, I think I want to get in real estate, which obviously we know he doesn't require a degree or anything. And my dad says, what? I go, so yeah, I'm going to come home and that's what I'm going to do. And he goes through the roof. My dad never goes through the roof. He is steady Eddie. He's like, what the heck, Amy? So I said, I'm going to come back. I'm going to move back to Chicago as soon as I learn this trade. So I moved back home. My mom and dad eventually said yes. Within a few weeks, they said yes. I moved back home and my dad became my accountability partner, probably because I was moved back in with them and they wanted to get me out of the house quick. Right. So like literally, and I don't think he thought I could do it. And, you know, I can understand where he thought I was a hot mess. So literally every day he's like, come up with some kind of slogan. So my dad's an entrepreneur. So anyway, I go get fresh apples. I get stickers made that say, I'm fresh in the business, hire me and start packing. And literally every single day I knock doors like 3-4 hours a day.
Wow.
And that's how I secured my first listing. And the funny thing about this is, John, here I am almost 30 years in the business. Guess what? I'm back doing knocking on doors. I'm back to knocking on doors again. Coming full circle. I'm doing what I do, right? So I get in the business. I end up being like rookie of the year right away. I have great success. I've always found a lot of success, but I've always looked at real estate as a vehicle. I've never looked at it like I love real estate. I love people. I love the life it provides. I love the opportunities it gives me to be impactful. And that's really is my lane. It's never been about real estate. It's always been about people and the impact you can make on them. And so even my team, I'm like, guys, the good news is if you don't actually love real estate, it's just a vehicle. If you look at it as a vehicle, it changes for you. Right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, I don't love it, so I might well get it. No, are you good at it? It's a vehicle. Use it. So fast forward, I was with Remax for 13 years, and I was just on the transaction treadmill. Like in our market, a couple $100,000 deal was a big deal at the time. And I was, you know, selling 130, 140 homes myself. And I was like, I just need a life. I need a life. And so I got a phone call from Matt Wagner one day, who's got rate, and he called me and said, hey, Amy, I can get you so much more business. And I go, Matt, I don't need more business. I don't need that. I need a life. He goes, sounds like you need a coach. I said, I said, I do, but I haven't found one. And he hooks me up with Amanda. And it's like one of those moments in my life that I know exactly where I was when I took the call. And it changed my life because literally Amanda called me within an hour. And within 3 weeks, guys, I had built out a business. I had built out a team. I hired a bunch of people. I bought a bunch of software. I took on a bunch of systems that I wasn't even equipped. I took on a bunch of expense that I wasn't even necessarily equipped and ready to handle. I just knew I couldn't do what I was doing anymore. Like I have to grow and I have to go now because I need a life. And so I took all that on and we created a team, and then our team just started to grow. And eventually, you know, the Remax system just didn't allow for a lot of growth for teams at the time. I think they've changed now. So I just had to, you know, branch off, and we started our own company a decade ago. So it's been a fun ride. It's been a bumpy ride. It's you know, running a real estate company is definitely, it's not for the weak at heart.
No, that's awesome. When you started growing your team, Talk about the progression of the hires that you made. It's very interesting. You and all of your friends and peers, everyone's different. Like, I don't know if you know, you probably do because you hang around so much. Dan Beer's first hire was an ISA.
Okay.
That
All
was
right.
it.
Yeah.
Other people will say you need to hire an admin person. I don't know that there is one right way. Talk about the progression of hires over time, because I think that would help a lot of people. There's a ton of people here that are either watching or listening to this saying, who's the next hire? What's the right path? What was your path of hiring staff over time?
So my path was I first hired my first assistant, who's actually still with me. So she's been with me 20 years. She's now my sales manager. So there you go. And then my sister, she's still with me. She's my listing partner. So we've got a lot of longevity there, right?
Yeah.
And they just kind of worked. Anna was my assistant. She was licensed, so she'd help me a bit. She sold a little bit, but mostly it was just back end stuff. Steph handled our finances. And I finally convinced her to get into the listing side of things and get her license. But my next hire was I hired 2 buyer's agents to just take the overflow. And then I hired my very first, and I think this is a great hire, a videographer. So when I hired my videographer, no one had a videographer. No one had a media team. Guys, I'm Stone Age. Like I had like drones when they first came out. Like I was like one of the first people to get a drone. We started flying drones and houses and doing all this crazy marketing and video stuff. Like when no one was doing it, I would go into big markets and I'm like, big markets don't even have drone work or any kind of cool video work going on. So we've always led on that side of things. And now I feel like because that's everyone's doing all the same things anymore, drone work, Matterport, 3D tours, all that. Now it's like you got to keep up in the ante. Now I'm like, now what's my next pitch on? I got to change video up. Video has to be different. So like the funny thing is I've had a huge media team and I think it's one of the best investments. It's always been one of what I've perceived to be one of the greatest investments. It would cost me about 150 grand a year, but it produced so much for me. Now, do I have a real ROI on it? I didn't. I just knew that we were gaining so much traction, so much market share, and every seller wanted what we were delivering to other people and they're not seeing it from other agents. So to me, like now in today's market, that's much more common to have, you've got a media team or you've got your videographer. And now I'm taking it old school again. That's the funny thing. I'm taking it old school again. I'm getting my phone out. Last week, we took on a listing and I'm kind of digging back in again in this interesting environment. I'm like, whatever I have to do to secure listings, we're doing it. And so we took it in. I'm like, I have 2 people that have been with me for a long time, my operations manager and my sales manager. And I'm like, let's go to this house that we had just staged. My team. And I'm like, I'm going to do a walking video of this thing. And it's old school, but guess what? That's the stuff that's making impact right now. It's not the necessarily, like, do I want everything to look perfect? Do I want everything to be great? I do. But honestly, there's something that resonates when a human being, oh, I like her. I like them. Oh, okay. And, even with our branding, like I've had but I would say some really amazing people that are creative in my company, like real creatives that have done amazing things with our branding. We've spent millions of dollars on branding. We have a branding that in our market has national type recognition. Like I've been told that from people that do studies. They've called me and said, Amy, your branding has national recognition in this market. So we've done a phenomenal job on that, but we almost made our brand too perfect. We were very Apple-ish, clean, crisp, clear, too perfect. And then COVID hits and the market shifts and people are like, they've lost connection. We're just the clean, crystal clear. And guess what? I had to back it off quickly. Like we made corrections quickly. Like, oh, we have to go in and now we're not just perfect. Now we have to humanize ourselves in a big way. And so that has been a challenge for me over the last couple of years, is just to humanize myself. That's when you enter the picture, John.
Yes, so good. Wow. Let's go back thank you. Really, really good. We'll unpack more of that in a second. Let's go back to building up to 120, 130 transactions. What were the basics? What was your day like? I mean, did it change in how you generated business when you went from 50 transactions to 100, or was it just some core basic activities you did to build up to selling over 100 homes yourself a year?
Okay, so again, I'm in a beautiful small market. Beautiful saying, it's a little interesting sometimes, but I can throw a rock in the pond and the ripple effect's a lot larger, right? And so I say that I have an advantage. So when I got started, lead systems were not a thing. Like I've never gotten a lead. I've never had a Zillow lead. I didn't have anyone hand me a deal. Like that's just not what happened. I never took floor time. Like that was not, I didn't want to sit that long. Okay.
I bet everyone's really surprised right now, right?
I was a knock on the door person. I'm like, get me in front of you. If I can get in front of you, then we're good. I don't want to talk to you on the phone even. Just get me in front of you. So literally I did strategic things. And I was just talking about this last night. Like, what did I do like to really crush it? And all I did is throw so much mud on the wall with activity. So every day I had so many routines. Okay. First of all, I hit multiple coffee shops. I didn't drink the coffee. I'd go buy other people coffee standing behind me in line. I'd buy them coffee. They knew I'm in real estate. Everyone wants to know, Amy, what's going on in the real estate business? And I would talk to them about the real estate business. This was my path. Stop at 2 or 3 different places every morning. I mean, I walk out to the car, pitch the coffee. I don't care. It's marketing, right? This is even going to sound crazier. When I didn't have anything going on, I would still get all dressed up like I'm working, right? I would walk through a Target. I'd walk through whatever. I have my name badge on. I'd walk through everything, but I walked with purpose because guess what people want to do business with? They want to do business with people that have energy, passion, and walk with purpose. They think you're successful, right? People want to do business with people that they think are successful. So every day, whether I had nothing to do or not, I would get out in the public and walk around and look like I had something to do. I don't care if I had to go pick up a friend to go show houses to, whatever. I was always talking about, always educating myself, but literally I was around people all the time, telling them what I did. And, you know, again, I'm in a smaller market, so it doesn't take that long to start to go, oh, you know, hey, what do you think? People always want to know about real estate. So those are like, as far as making prospecting calls, that's probably not what I did. I was very intentional about my activities and I mastered open houses. I would have 4 open houses a weekend or on a Sunday, an hour at a time. And then I would go back to the office after those 4 open houses and I would literally prospect all the leads that came through them. The funny thing is I go buy Fruit Loops or whatever cereal I wanted to snack on while I was at the office. This is my Sunday night routine. All my friends are going and having fun. And I'm like, no, I'm on a mission. So I'd go back to my office, get whatever. And I would just I would hammer the phone, but I would always set appointments. And here's the thing too. I would do things when, like, let's say the holiday weekend, that's a dead time. I'm hosting an open house because whoever's walking through that open house is serious. So if you want, I mean, now I'm at a point where I have kids and we have family and that trumps that, right? But back in the day, I didn't. And I was like, hey, I'll never forget this. Is a really snowy holiday. It was the week before Thanksgiving. And I had just put a little ad and said, hey, free turkey giveaway for, you know, free registration for a turkey enter my open house, whatever. And so it's a freezing cold day. It's yuck out. No one's hosting any open houses out. And I'm like, what did I do? And this guy walks in. He goes, hey, I had thought I'd have a pretty good chance at a turkey. I go, you're right. You do. You have got the turkey, man. It is yours. No one else is here. And I'm about ready to wrap this place up. And it wasn't even a nice house.
Right.
And the guy says, hey, interesting thing is I've been thinking about moving. I go, you have? He said, yeah, I've been really thinking about it. And would you mind come looking at my house? I said, yeah. So, okay, again, in our market, 400, 500 grand is a big number, especially back in that day.
Sure.
Okay. So I get out of my car. It's so snowy out. And I'm like almost going off the road because he's out in the country. I go look at his acreage and he goes, so I go out there, I look I'm winging it at this point. I give him a number and he goes, hey, there's a house also I'd like to look at. I said, let's go look at it now. So within a 48-hour period, I just knocked out like $20,000 worth of commission. And everyone in my office is sitting there going, what just happened?
So good. So watch this. Now, this is where it gets fun. And I feel bad for the agents today, somewhat. Yeah, we live in personal responsibility, but would any of that work today?
100%.
And would it probably work better today than the last 2 or 3 years the way agents have been doing business? What are your thoughts on that? We get a chat each week, but we're chatting different things.
Like 100%. Like that's the kind of stuff, anything that you can do to differentiate yourself, anything you can do to like attract them to call them in. Like, I'm like, when it's snowy out, go knock on doors. Right. Do it when it's like, no, who do that? Mm-hmm. I always tell people that like money flows to uniqueness and creativity. Mm-hmm. People like to see hustle. Mm-hmm. And I always tell I have a lot of young team members. I'm like, guys, people love to see young people hustle and do well, and they love to help you do it. They love to help you succeed. So you have a leg up. When I got in the business, again, there were hardly any women in my industry, except for they're like 70. And then they'd retired. And I got in the industry, and I'm like, for the first 7 years I was in the business, it was totally the good old boys club. I have cleared a path in my market and they beat me up so much. They told me they weren't going to pay me commission checks. I mean, it was crazy because I was taking all their business from them.
Wow.
But it was literally just because, I mean, every day my dad would say, how many doors did you knock on today?
I was going to ask, you know, what's coming to mind? I was going to say, who's your go-to? Has dad been your, if you were to look at that mainstay, has your dad been that go-to for you?
John, he had. And the funniest thing is, okay, so every day he'd ask me, who did I talk to? How many doors did I knock on? I couldn't lie to him because he could see right through it. Right. And he
How old were you at this time? I want people to hear so. How old were you at that point in time when you're going to your dad?
22.
22, and you're going to dad. And at a time where, I mean, a lot of times, like I remember my daughter at 22. Yeah, dad, I need you for what I need you, but otherwise. So, I mean, he was a source.
Yeah, he was a source. And the funny thing of it is, I just called him yesterday. I said, Dad, guess what? He goes, what? I go, full circle, I'm back. And he goes, to what? I go, I'm knocking on doors again. He's like, Amy, that is awesome. He loves it. He goes, now get your kids out doing it with you. I said, oh, I'm going to. It's going to be a family ordeal.
Wow.
But
so one of the things I want to unpack too is, because the one thing that you and I know is will not, because it's who you are, what you do, and what you stand for. You're never going to compromise this brand that you have. But
right.
What I want people to hear is that what you've done is you've kept that brand intact and continue to crystallize it and have it be that reputation of, you know, who you guys are. But at the same time is, for someone that maybe doesn't have a business as big as yours is, maybe doesn't have the resource that you have, that you built up to, that what I call it, you call it big marketing, little marketing, if you want to.
Yeah.
The little marketing works, and for you, it complements what you've been doing, right?
It works. I mean, I almost thought, hey, round 2.0, I might go get those apples back. That's not even my brand. That's not even my tagline anymore. But people, this is 30 years ago, I knocked doors, and I'm literally still reaping the benefits of it. I still get listing calls saying, hey, you knocked on my door 20 some years ago on a really cold, rainy night. And I always said, if I was going to sell my house, you were it. I've had people put me in their will that Amy's going to sell my house. Like, and it's all people that I've met from knocking. Guys, I'm telling you, if you could connect with another human being, because if I just knocked on the door and I was like, you know, hey, I'm just Joe Schmo salesman. But if you can actually make a connection with a human being and they see that you care about them, because I would do that and then I'd re-knock that door maybe 6 months later. And if I ever came across this, like, you know, there's some situation going on in their life as I got to talk to them, like I would always touch base back with them. I'm a big believer in every day I check to see who do I feel like I'm supposed to make contact with, like on the inside, who is on my radar? Because I know that as I've allowed that to grow and I follow that, I can't tell you how much business I've done by just getting involved in like, hey, I'm just thinking about you. Oh, I was just thinking about, we're thinking about doing something. My intent is not real estate. My intent is them, but it always leads to a real estate transaction. And so I've led with that my entire life.
You know what I want you all to hear here is that obviously Amy is a great saleswoman, but the reason she's able to do that is she's doing the ones she's done and continues to do. The one step that I don't think is talked about enough and is a focus. She has dramatically lowered their guard. She's lowered their guard, and she's lowered their guard through relationship, through consistency, through being in front of people. It's very interesting. You know, I always say this, we're on the enrollment business. I'm enrolling people to work with me. You're enrolling buyers and sellers and agents to work with you in whatever way it may be. And the most important thing to do, though, is to be face to face. I can be on a Zoom, Amy, with 2,000 people and get 1,000. I never have gotten 1,000. I get 1,000 people say it was your best performance ever on a Zoom.
Yeah.
Maybe one person would say, I want to work with you. I can have 10 people in a room face to face, and half of them will say, can I work with you? It's that face to face. They've got to experience.
It's that connection. Like,
yes.
Yeah, I always tell people what I'm like, you have to go into every situation. It's an honor to be in your presence, right? When you go into that position, it's an honor to be in your house. It's an honor to have you walk me through your home, show me your most valuable, most private spaces. It's an honor. When you take the position of honor, even when people attend your open houses, and I mean, I was the king of, I'm going to put people's shoes on. I'll take them on and off for them. Like let me serve you. Oh, it looks like you got some back pain. Let me grab those shoes for you. No, 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 no. Do you think they forget you when you walk out the door? They don't.
No, they
And
don't.
like, there's just things that I've met people at open houses and I'm like, man, they're on my brain. And I'll give them a call like a month later, not about a real estate deal. And they're like, you remembered that? I said, yeah, I was just checking in on it. How'd that go for you? Guess what? I've got tons of referrals from. I just said to my team the other day, I said, guys, I've had 7 phone calls this morning from like our $1 million sellers, right? Like that have done a tremendous amount of business with us, that have been huge lead sources from us. And guess what they've all called me to talk to me about? Personal situations. They've all called to talk to me about personal situations. And I've reached out to every single one of them and gotten back to them. And nothing has anything to do with real estate. It all has to do with life crises that they're walking through. And these guys I go, you don't think that's about our business? It's all about our business. They do business when they like, know, and trust, right? But when they think about it, like this is the only way you're going to eliminate yourself from being, subject to a Zillow click. It's the way, it's the path of being like, I mean, I love technology. I love the scalability of technology, but it has created an issue for agents in the fact that 80 or 90% say they'll buy or sell with the agents they bought with, and then 15% do. It's because we are not memorable. We're not sitting in front of their table having their milk spill on us and their kid throw up on us and those memories, right? Like that's the old school stuff. And last year when we were doing competitive offers and we had multiple offers going on all the time, I went completely old school. And I'm taking everything old school again. But I brought all of our sellers into our room. If they were local, I brought them to our office and I brought all the agents that had offers. I'm like, come present your own offer. Do you know agents don't even know how to present offers?
I know.
They don't even know how to present offers. I can't tell you how many shaking agents that came in, they could not even present an offer. They couldn't even know how to make eye contact. And I'm like, oh, Lord Jesus. And then I'm talking about like my team, they know how to present. They can get in front of people and present. Like they are the best presenters, right? Because they're prepared. But here's the thing. So many people won in the offer presentation because the seller liked the person, not even the offer as much.
Yes, we pay for, I mean, all the way down to Starbucks.
Yes.
Mr. Schultz, I believe is the gentleman's name who founded Starbucks. You know what he said? He says, I don't sell coffee, I sell experience. I sell community, not convenience. There are many places that you'll drive to for 99 cents that are closer, they're more convenient, but you don't buy coffee there. And he says, right. I don't even know if my coffee it tastes that good. It's the experience. I want to point out a couple of things that you're sharing, but I want people to bridge this back to what they're taught. What Amy has illustrated to you and articulated is nurture. And if you look at our definition of nurture in the real estate business, I'll leave y'all to your own devices on that. But I want to go to what you heard Amy talk about was nurture is this: care for, encourage, and support. Go into Webster's and it says that. Care for, encourage, and support. We take things really out of context, right? And care for, encourage, support. How can they not know, like, and trust, which probably everyone that watches this or is listening to this, you've been taught that. And you guys, it is the absolute basics. The other thing that she said, my terms, old school's the new school. Pete, you guys they've automated themselves out of relationships. Mm-hmm. What would you say? And with our hearts coming forward, reaching out to these people, whether it's your agents or agents across North America, it's not easy to lead people that have been doing a business based on a market condition, hard workers, competent people. What would you say to, and how are you working with your agents? Because it's tough. Hey, you guys, we did do things a different way the last 3 years. A lot of it was everyone was in urgency. Now it's uncertainty. Talk to the agent population. If you're leading the agent population today, how would you coach them up and say, hey, I know you've done it this way, but here's what has to happen. What would that look like? I think you might be doing it today.
I'm doing it today. So here's, I'm talking to my team, we're in a different world. So like I've been telling them for a long time, don't just send text messages out. Don't send, I mean, how do people, what's like body language is how much percent of how people perceive you? What is it?
55%.
55%, right?
55%.
Okay. And yeah, we send out a text.
Yeah.
We literally shoot
But
ourselves.
remember, Amy, people don't answer the phone either, and they're not going to meet at your door, of course,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Okay, tell that to me when I just knocked on like 40 doors and I talked to 5 people and I have 2 listing appointments, right?
This is a team leader, ladies and gentlemen. This is a team leader, a business owner. So just FYI, another piece I want you to hear from Amy, okay, and it's already thematically in this interview, modeling.
Yeah.
Modeling, not hiding in the ivory tower. So go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to point those things
And
out.
here's the thing, I do have an ivory tower. I just said this to my operations team the other day. I go, like my leadership team, I'm like, guys, I have the most beautiful office. It is cozy. I got a fireplace behind me. I mean, it's beautiful, right? But I can't hang out in here anymore because I've never believed that you make money hanging out in an office. So go out, be out in the public. So today, again, guess where I'm back at? I'm hitting coffee shops again. Because guess what's on everyone's mind? Amy, what's going on in the real estate business?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what's going on in the real estate business. I'm going everywhere, and everywhere I'm going, people are like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And I've told my team, get out there. I don't care where you go, put your name tag on and go walk around. Go walk around, be in the public. Everyone wants to know. But on your relationship, when you make contact with people, don't even talk about real estate. It's the person, right? That's the biggest goal I can have is even when someone mentions to you offhand, hey, oh, my husband's getting ready to go have surgery and we're going to look at doing something here in a few months. You know, they're going to have surgery the next week. Check in on them. How'd the surgery go? Just thinking about you. Do you think that that makes you a little bit farther removed? Not being about the real estate transaction, that's a natural byproduct of it. Being a good human being. Oh, you cared to check in on me?
That's more powerful than 5 drip emails and 3 text messages that they opened and read.
Yeah,
Or follow-up.
Yeah, last week I met with like 8 or 9 different clients of ours that have done business or will do business with us. And I met with them and I sewed into their life. Like I spent time with them and they sat here and they didn't come to talk to me about real estate. And I kind of have a funny thing in my office. Everyone knows if it's sitting in my chair over here, you're probably gonna start crying. I don't know what happens. People just start telling me everything, right? But I honestly feel like they care, like they sense that I care, like they know I care. And that is such a commodity right now to have someone feel heard, they're supported and they're cared for. And I go, guys, do you want to know how come we keep getting repeat business, and it's, 75% of what we do is repeat? It's because the client knows that they're cared for and it's not about a transaction and it's not about that, So
Really good. What biggest risk you think you've taken in business?
opening up my own
The
company.
one that scared the daylights out of you.
Building this building.
It was a setup, Amy. I thought so. Yeah,
Building
right.
this building. So check this out. This is gonna kind of give you a clue into who I am. Okay. So
Well, let me share this. So too, this is what's so cool because you shared that. Then remember Peggy up in Toronto said, yeah, I bought this building, didn't know I was going to pay for it. So it's like, I'm like, you guys, it's just so congruent with what you do. But anyways, go ahead, talk about it.
Okay, so
inspiring.
So literally I'm in this safe zone space. It's costing me, like I'm in this house, I'm in this nice little building. It's costing me $1,000 a month. It is a safe zone, right? But I'm like, I want to grow. We've done as much as we could to it. It looked nice, but I had 4,000 square foot and I'm a person that likes to have a cafe style office. Like I like it to look really great. I have so many sectionals and coffee tables and TVs in my office. Like it looks good in here, right? I have a kitchen, but because I think that the atmosphere you work in matters. If you're in a positive, creative atmosphere, you're going to be positive, creative, and productive. When you're in a depressing, negative atmosphere, you're in a depressing atmosphere, or it's subpar, it's not awesome. That doesn't inspire me. I have to live in inspired spaces. So my house is inspired, my office is inspired, because then I live inspired, right? So I decided, okay, I need to do something. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find a building. And a builder I'd been working with, who I kind of was not really getting along that well with because he was, anyway.
He's a builder.
He came to me one day, he goes, I got an idea. I said, what? He goes, why don't you build a building right here? And I said, how much do you want for that land though? Because he owned the land, of course.
Yeah, sure.
And he goes, Amy, I think I can get the city to pay for it for you. I go, are you serious? So we called the mayor right on the spot. We called the mayor. He goes, hey, if Amy were to build out a building of certain size, would you guys buy the land for her to do it? So they can have the taxes down the road. And he said, I'll get back to you. He calls us back like within like 24 or 48 hours. It seemed fast to me, and said, hey, I've talked to the city council members and we think it'd be a good kickoff for the subdivision. We'll do it. So that was like 600 or 700 grand for the land. And they're like, we'll do it. But you have to build an 18,000 square foot building and da 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 da. So I'm like, they're going to get their tax money back, right?
Yeah, they're good.
They're getting their money back. It's a little bit delayed, but they're getting their money back. So I jump into it, and I want it to be really architecturally, like, have good spaces. And I get into it, and it comes in $1 million over budget. And that was a time I went back to my husband, and we've been married, I don't know, 6-7 years at the time. And I said, Steve, okay, I'm on the line. I'm thinking about not doing this. And he goes, what? I said, I'm thinking about it. It came in $1 million over budget. The only way I can get down to budget is to cut off this whole, like I've got like a second story that's it's a real cool space, is to cut that off and get rid of that. And I'm not interested in the building if it doesn't look good. So I don't want to just build it. I'm not interested in it. So if it's not going to be what I want it to be, I don't want to do it. And he goes, I said, so you're on the hook with me on this, and it's coming in. So, I mean, I ended up having like, I don't know, 2.5 million into it. Right. And I really wanted to be like $1.5 million. Now today, if you try to build this, it'd be like 6 or 7 million. It's not, it's a whole different game. Yeah. But anyway, I was so nervous. And so Steve's like, Amy, I have so much peace about you, but I have to tell you something. If you don't keep growing, I know you. If you don't keep pushing the envelope, even though you have I have like the nicest building, one of the nicest buildings in our market, right? But if you don't keep pushing the envelope, like you'll go backwards and you'll fizzle out of this business, because you have to keep moving the needle forward. And I said, it's true. I have to take risks it's like oxygen to me. Okay, we can do this. Now what's our next thing, right? But this building has created so much opportunity. In fact, it allowed me to again, another risk. I had spaces that people wanted to rent, and I didn't rent to them because I kept having this check on the inside. I might want that. I might need that space. So here's the reality. When I had leased out 3 spaces, I had another 4,000 square foot piece, and we kept having all these people come to me. What about this? What about that? And I go so far into it. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I've got 10,000 square foot here. Do I really need that? And one day I was in Tampa, Florida, and I was in Kevin, what's that guy's name? Kevin, the infomercial guy, Kevin Harrington's studio.
Oh, you were.
I walk into Kevin Harrington's studio, right, to do a commercial with him. Yeah. And I walk in the door, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I get done doing the commercial. I call my office. I go, hey, we're building out a studio. That's what we're doing. We're going to build this thing out. So I said, I want a staircase in it, a fake staircase in it, everything. I saw it. We're doing this thing. We can do so much with the studio. Like, I haven't even begun to tap into what I'm going to do with that studio. It's TV ready. Like, I could have TV shows going out of there. It's that high quality. Anyway, so that's a risk. But guess what? Here's the thing. Like, I was listening to this inside voice. You got to trust your gut. I'm like, trust your gut. I trust it big time. And I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to get rid of that space. Let's finish it out. Well, fast forward, it gets finished March 1st of 2020. March 1st of 2020, we're going into COVID, right? It gets finished.
I can do that math.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm freaking out about that thing. That thing became a gold mine for us. It became a gold mine. We had people wanting to rent it out. They wanted to come in and use the studio. And we turned that thing around, and we started doing virtual open houses in that studio. We've put up living room sets. I mean, obviously I have a ton of staging furniture. So we just moved it around. And about 6 weeks prior to COVID, I had this gut feel like I'm supposed to start doing 3D tours of all of our listings. Again, following your gut. Like, we started doing Matterport on every listing we had, no matter the price point, even though it's taken longer, whatever. We're just committing to that. So March 2020 comes along, open houses get canceled, everything shuts down, and we immediately go into our online open houses in our studio. And we would rotate around talking about it. And it became, that space saved my life in 2020, because I would go in there, it was creative. We put so much content out in 2020 with that. And here's the thing, guys, we started saying, man, if you can pick your spouse online, you can definitely pick a house online. We had maybe, I think we had like 3 or 4 houses that are like $500,000 houses. So again, in our market, not just flying off the shelves, that literally during COVID, during our open houses, they'd say, hey, we've been looking for that. You have? My first week doing an open house, and we did them live. So you could see, like, we could see all the activity going on. And back then, like, people were like, how are they going to pull this off? So we're the only company that kept moving forward with open house activity, and we kept it fresh, and we had our own commentary bouncing back and forth between chairs as we're doing a 3D tour. It was very cool. So that really saved our business and allowed us to stay really creative, really forward thinking. And it just gave us the ability to continue to lead in our industry and lead in our market. And I really took on that role of leadership because I felt like if I wasn't going to say something, the market could go really bad. So I'm like, I got to use my voice to create stability in this market and to create, like, so there's an awareness that it's good. We're good. It's solid. You're able. And it did just that. So I love this building. Was I terrified to do it? My final decision on building this building was this. I have an 8-year-old daughter. I have twins, a boy and a girl. And I looked at Faith and I said, I never want her to think with limitation. And this building represents a lack of limitation to me. I never want her to think of limitation. And boy, she doesn't either. But I never wanted that for her. And so I want a living epistle of the fact that all things are possible.
That's so good. Really good. How about mistakes along the way?
My biggest, like, I have definitely made some mistakes. And I would say my biggest mistakes are not letting toxic people go. I had a really top producer that I knew right out of the gate, like, she could handle all my clients. So it's taking pressure from me. I'm like, oh, good. I can hand off all my clients to her because she just is that person. She was able to do a lot of stuff with a lot of people. I felt very confident in her skill level, but she came in and it was an immediate rub in our culture. Like, it was immediate. And because I was at a point in my life that I just wanted to not be doing things that I was like, I wanted to step back on things. And she had the ability, she had the skill set to carry it. I kept her. And it created so much conflict in my leadership team. It created so much conflict in my office. And I kept her about 1.5 years too long. And it was a miserable 1.5 years, guys. It was miserable. Constant walking on eggshells. And I'm thinking, I'm walking on eggshells in my own sandbox. What the heck? Right? But I was catering to it because she knows so many people and I'd given her so many of my clients and just all this stuff. And literally and I kept asking that there be a way that we could part, like, amicably. And we did. And the damage, like, it's just done some damage, right? And I've had to repair that. I'm just now getting the damage control under control. Like, I feel like I've got it now, but it's taken me almost 1.5 years to do that. And I should have done it when I felt the need to do it. And I just didn't. And I think that that's one of the letting go of people when they need to go and holding on to them too long. I think that's one of my biggest mistakes I made. And it cost me a lot.
Really good. Mindset or skills? If you could choose, you can only pick one.
Mindset all day long.
Talk about
hands down mindset. Here's the thing, like, mindset is everything. It's everything from the time I wake up to setting my intention. Like, I used to have an agent that would do open houses for me all the time. She worked in our new construction area, but she'd say, oh, they're interested. I said, do you suck? Like, why do you not get any deals done? Like, everyone's interested, but can you not close a deal? And she said, what do you mean? I go, do you set your intentions when you go to your open houses? She goes, what do you mean by that? I go, I guess I do that naturally. So I don't know that you don't know this.
Yes.
I go, if I'm going to go spend time in an open house, I'm getting all those people. Like, they're walking into my world. I might not sell them this house, but they are going to want to do business with me because I am a walking magnet. That's what I tell my team all the time. I declare all the time, I am a walking magnet and people are compelled to do business with me. They go out of their way to do business with me, right? So when they walk into my open house, I've got my energy is right. I'm intentional. I'm already scoping them out. I've figured out who the decision maker is before they get to the front door. right? I know what kind of buyer I'm dealing with because of the car they're driving. If it's clean, it's dirty, it's a BMW, or if it's a, I don't know what, right? But I've analyzed so many things before they've even walked in the door that I know who I'm dealing with. And like, those are things that I do naturally that are mindset things that a lot of people don't even know to do. So I would say mindset all day long. And I do that even like when I'm going to knock on doors and open houses. I'm like, when I'm going to knock on doors, I'm like, people, I'm going to connect so well with these people. They are going to want to do business, because here's the deal. I always tell everybody, I don't quit. Why hire our company? Because no matter what, we do not quit. We will find a solution for you. We don't quit.
Well, and with that, one of the things that I didn't mention at the outset of this, Amy runs a great business. She's also one of our Cheplak Life coaches. And if you have an interest in exploring coaching with her, amy.cheplakllivecoaching.com, amy.cheplakllivecoaching.com, and you can go to that link and you can fill out a questionnaire, and then she'll come back to you to have a discovery call. And so with that said, I wanted to let people know that, because I'm sure people are listening and watching going, oh my gosh, I want some of her.
I love the opportunity.
Good. Talk about what, you've got this business, beautiful family, and all those responsibilities. What makes you want to go out and coach at this point in your career? And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Amy has experienced 700 plus transactions closed in a year in her marketplace. She is in a marketplace also of what? How many agents are there? Total 400. There's 400 agents. 400 agents. So, those of you that say small market, there are small market issues that come up 100%. But that doesn't get in the way. What is it at this point in your personal life? Because they all, you've got your personal life, and you've got the business life, and then a community life, and the passion life, the things you like to do in your passion. What is it that makes you want to coach, in addition, coach other people in the business?
Well, first of all, coaching changed my life. Like, when I embraced coaching, it changed my life. I've had a coach for the last decade, 10 or 12 years, actually. And it changed the entire trajectory of my life. So I believe in it, right? And I know the impact that the coaches I've had have had on my personal life and my business life. And they kind of all go hand in hand. If your private life is a mess, your business life is probably a mess too. So like, they've all kind of gone hand in hand. And so I have high value for the right coach. And I think that the right coach can take you through things that you couldn't walk through yourself, or take you a lot longer to get through, right? So I value coaching. But second of all, I walked through a few years ago a health crisis that gave me very much a clarity that my purpose on this earth is to create impact. If I can change the trajectory for someone else's life, that's what motivates me. That's what drives me. That's what excites me. It's never been about real estate for me. It's always been about the people, but it's that like 10 times more now. So I know the impact a coach can have, and the ability to do that, to align myself. Like, John, here's the deal. I knew that I needed someone like you, right? You are the right coach for me at this season in my life. I needed a new language. I needed a different thing. And you came in and you brought so much clarity to me. And it's not even anything that you may have said to me. I mean, you've said a lot to me. It's watching you. It's proximity, right? It is the proximity. It's huge. It's so huge. And so, every time I've gone with a coach, I'm like, I'm not a person that gets in and gets out. All my coaches I had for a long time. I'm not the person that goes for 3 months. That didn't work. Oh, that didn't work. That's not me. I'm like, we're in this and let's go. Right. Well, let's do this and let's go and let's build. And I've just seen so much success from coaching. I've seen the impact of it. And I've also know that I'm on a mission to make as big a difference in as many people's lives on this earth as I possibly can. And to me, it's those phone calls and those text messages and those reach outs that said, man, Amy, you made an impact in my life today. Like, that's gold to me. It's the gold.
That's our currency.
Yeah.
That's our currency. Let's do, we can go on and we'll do this again for sure. Let's stay in that same vein, because what the reality is people are going through some challenging times in their business. And what happens, you got market changes, and what happens also is it impacts people's personal lives, or maybe people are having a challenging personal situation. Because what we know, and you alluded to this, is everything going on privately will show up publicly. What would you say to that person? Because you've walked through some storms, and what you and I both know, though, too, and it's where I think that we're really aligned, is those are classrooms that we get to be students in. Those experiences are our teachers. What would you say to folks that are listening to this, in current space and time, maybe 2 years from now? Because that's the beauty of these things. It's like here forever. You're going to have challenging markets, challenging times. What would you say to that person who's in a challenging space right now, whether it's a financial one, a market one, their business relationships? What would you say to them? What would your suggestion be to them?
So my first thing would be is to really, so when those things happen, I think it can cause a lot of self-doubt. It can cause people to really question, what they're doing, why they're doing it, if it's worth it. Are they capable? Do they have the ability? And so I would say that you got to find a quick tribe around you. Get your cheerleaders around you, right? And center yourself. Because I went through a time where, I've always been like, I think winning is a habit and losing is a habit, right? And I have always had a habit of winning. Last year, for the first time, it would appear like a loss. But I refuse to accept that as a loss, because I've gained a lot of knowledge from it. And it's caused me to do things at a different level. Okay. So get rid of the condemnation, because I've had that. I dealt with that. In fact, I just talked with two giants in this industry that are like, Amy, we're writing checks and we've never written checks. We're not making money right now. And I'm like, okay, it's a mindset thing. I'm like, okay, well, here's the reality of it. Let's go deep. Do you believe in yourself? Do you think you have the ability? If you can shake out all that fear and shake out all that and get into your core, what got you where you're at is what's going to keep you going forward. I got to this point. I didn't get to this point on good luck. I didn't get to this point all on a market. There's so many inherent risks in doing what we do. It's not luck on any hand. In my market, it's not anywhere. I don't think it's anywhere across the country. It's not luck. It's what's on the inside of you. So to go back and draw from the strength of what got you to this point will carry you to the next season. And I think that that's a critical thought, to just know, okay, I've been built for this season. I'm on this earth for this season, and I'm equipped for this season. So I might not like the struggle I'm in, but if I can dig down deep and go back to my basics, then it gives me my power, my ability back. And then I think you start to get creative again. I think creativity flows to you again, because you're not in that mindset of I suck. You're not in that mindset of I'm fearful. You're in a creative space. And then I think that I'm a God person, call it a universe, call it whatever. I think things just start to flow to you. They start to open up to you. And you have to take the actions, and you got to keep walking, but your self-talk is going to be so critical in this season.
Really good. On that note, thank you so much. I want to remind everyone, if you'd like to explore coaching with Amy, you can go to amy.cheplaklivecoaching.com. There's a questionnaire, and she'll hop on a quick discovery call, and you guys can see if you're a fit. Amy, you're awesome. It's a privilege to be a friend. We get to work together, but I think it's that depth of relationship that allows us to work together and do neat things together. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you. Thank you.